my friends. Namaste. Hope everybody's good today. Namaste, Tashi Dele. Hello. Good evening. I hope you guys are great. I'm Jason McDonald. Most of you might already know me. Some of you might not. And this is my little effort to spread some love into the universe, the vast, infinite ocean of love. So these are some trying times that we're all living through. COVID-19 has most of us in one way or another isolated off from the rest of the world. And I think it's really important to remember that each one of us has the ability to share love and compassion. In the world of Buddhism, love means wanting happiness for other living beings. Love does not mean clinging attachment to others. So in other words, in America or in the West, we might think of love as the type of loving attachment. It's wrapped up with attachment, a craving, a grasping at somebody. But as it pertains to the Buddhist definition, love is unattached kindness, unattached wish for others to be happy, to have happiness. And so one of the things that we can do to become more loving is to contemplate the benefits of love, the benefits of compassion for others. Love means wishing for others to be happy. Compassion means the wish for others not to suffer, okay? So the benefits of having love for others are inconceivable. Even if we took 1 trillion years and did a YouTube live video that lasted 1 trillion years, the benefits of love could not be expounded. I really believe this in my heart, by the way. The reason that I say the benefits are inconceivable is because we are all the same. You, me, everybody around you, everybody around me, every living being is the same in that we want happiness and we don't want to suffer. For most of us, that means we crave security. We want to be okay. We want to be healthy. We want to survive. Those are the basic biological needs of all living beings. And then they get corrupted and hijacked and turned into other things by our ego. For example, the craving for security and survival might get corrupted and turned into the craving for big houses, expensive cars, wealth, things like that. So the natural sort of desire that we all have just to survive and to live, I believe it gets corrupted and kind of hijacked by greed. And unfortunately, that greed leads us to suffering. It cannot give us any sustainable happiness, because once you get $100, you want 1,000. Once you get 1,000, you want 10,000. You want 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. There is no real point at which you gain happiness from acquiring material means. That doesn't mean that we don't need enough money to eat, pay our rent, etc. But there have been studies that, I believe one study I saw, people that make $70,000 a year are as happy as people that make 200,000. So there are lots of studies that prove very clearly that money in and of itself really can't deliver happiness. But I really believe that what the Beatles said, all you need is love. All you need is love. I really believe the Beatles were right. And I don't say that on a whim. I actually say that from maybe 6 or 7 years of consistent meditation. A lot of different types of meditation, but a lot of the meditation I've done is on love and compassion. The Mahayana vehicle of Tibetan Buddhism, the Mahayana vehicle, which Tibetan Buddhism is tightly interlinked with, it originated in India, so that's why I clarify. The Mahayana vehicle has two wings. Just like a bird needs two wings to fly, the Mahayana vehicle has two wings. One wing is love and compassion, bodhicitta, which is the wish to attain enlightenment in order to rescue all sentient beings from suffering. You could also call that method. Okay, so one wing is method. The other wing is wisdom. Wisdom is the knowledge of the true nature of things. So the wing that I'm talking about now is love. To me, love and compassion are two sides of the same coin. If you have one, you have the other. If you have love, if you have the wish for others to be happy, of course you have compassion, because if people are happy, they're not suffering. Compassion is the wish for others not to suffer. So when we start to think about what we all want happiness and we want freedom from suffering, right? We're exactly the same in that way. Of course, we create these concepts that separate us. The concept of me and the concept of you. These are only ideas, thoughts, concepts, right? They're nothing more than momentary thoughts. But a lot of us, what we do is we exacerbate this idea of me and you, and we allow it to create separation. And really that is called dualism or dualistic thinking. And that duality is what separates us, and it creates infinite suffering. So while conceptual dualistic thinking, the separation of me and you, is small, narrowing, it creates claustrophobia, it makes us anxious and tight, aggressive, angry. That's what the separation of me and you does. It creates space between us. It reduces love and compassion. It makes us cold. Whereas what love does is it creates openness, real love, genuine love, without attachment, just the genuine wish, genuine human kindness, right? The genuine wish for all living beings, not just people, not just those close to you, all living beings. From the tiniest lice or the tiniest ant up to the largest whale or whatever the largest mammal may be. Wishing for all of them to have happiness, just for them to be happy. That is expansive. It's infinite. There's no limitation in the wish for others to be happy. There's no narrowing and constricting qualities about love. Love is openness. Love can lead us to thinking that is non-dualistic. So really, the method so the two wings of the Mahayana vehicle, compassion and emptiness. This is my other wing. This wing is emptiness or wisdom. This wing is compassion. You could say compassion or love. You could say the six paramitas. So the one side of the wing is really relative bodhicitta, which is for simplicity, let's talk about love. I've never met a person that didn't, in the deepest part of them, want to be accepted. I've never met a person that in the deepest part of them didn't want to be loved, accepted, to be validated, to have their views validated. I've never met anybody like that. I never met anybody that wanted you to hate them. I've met people that outwardly appeared as though they wanted you to hate them. Maybe they appear as angry, But really, a lot of the time when somebody shows you anger, it's because they crave love and they're not getting it. They crave acceptance. They crave kinship, warm connections with others, and maybe they're not getting it. So that love has the ability to purify the whole world and beyond. In Buddhism, it's said that there are billions of world systems. I've never seen any of them, so I can't confirm or deny that. I believe it's probably true. So when we cultivate the mind imbued with love, we can think of infinite love for infinite number of living beings, really infinite, a never-ending plethora of living beings that we wish to have love for, which is just the warm quality of wishing for them to be happy. So the benefits for other living beings are pretty much inconceivable. Number one, when you treat somebody with love, kindness, respect, equality, fairness, when you give that quality of love to somebody, it warms their heart. It has the ability to spread. You've heard the term pay it forward. So love, when you give it to somebody, it has the ability to spread. It also has the ability to make us genuinely happy. When we're more focused outwardly on giving love to other living beings, we forget ourselves. When we forget ourselves, when we're not selfish, when we're not thinking about me, and what we can get, then we're in a position to help others, and we won't harm them, we won't be angry with them. And it's the ability to heal others' hearts and minds. So really, love has these wonderful qualities that, as I mentioned, they're really inexplicable. The qualities of love are so vast. And some people don't understand this. A lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people are going through their day and they're working off of their conditioning. Most of us have been conditioned all our lives. And a lot of people never take a moment and pause to think about what they're doing with their lives, which is sad because we're all going to die. Every one of us will die. Everything in this universe is impermanent. So it's impossible that anyone will escape death. Death is inescapable. And when we die, there's not really much that could help us other than the Dharma, which is the Buddha's teachings. Or if you're a Christian, or if you're Jewish or Muslim, you could substitute the Dharma for whatever your teachings are. At the moment of death, I believe that the only thing that has the capacity to help us are the spiritual teachings that we've studied, meditated on, contemplated, all of that, okay? All of us are going to die, and a lot of us are just going through the motions. And I believe in my heart, if we cultivate love with stake-driving intensity, you know when you pound a stake into the ground, right? And you got to use your muscles. You're pounding a stake into the ground. It takes focus. You really have to focus to be able to hit the sledgehammer on the top of the stake, right? And if we cultivate love with stake-driving intensity, we can disrupt the autopilot that a lot of us have been in or been on for a lot of years. And time is running out. Every one of us, each day, we're one day closer to death. And we need to make our lives meaningful. We need to do something meaningful with our lives. Love and compassion is always meaningful. there are some ways, there are some tactics that we can each employ to develop love and compassion. Again, the real reason to develop love and compassion is it makes us happy, it makes everybody else happy. It protects us, it protects others. Flat out, it has the ability, like a fierce warrior, to protect us and to protect others, okay? There are a lot of ways to cultivate love and compassion. We can make our days more meaningful. We can purify our selfish minds by going through the day and thinking about how can I attach the intention. It's all about intention. How can I attach or formulate the intention with each action that I take, the intention to benefit other sentient beings? Okay? So, as an example, I like to go outside in my backyard each day and feed the birds. When I feed the birds, I typically try to cultivate the intention as I'm pouring the bird food in. Please, may this action lead every one of these birds to Buddhahood, to pure, perfect enlightenment. Buddhahood is a state where you will never again suffer. It's a lot. Buddhahood's a complicated topic, but the simplicity, the way that I hold the thought of Buddhahood in my mind, is it is a state of bliss where you will no longer suffer. You have lost all your selfishness and you only think about love for other sentient beings. That's Buddhahood. So when I go out and feed the birds, I think, as a result of me feeding these birds, may every one of them reach the state of Buddhahood immediately. That's one example of how you can take an action and make it meaningful. And then after you do a compassionate or loving or kind action, you can dedicate the merit or the virtue or the good karma that you've cultivated to the benefit of all living beings. So in other words, once you take that action, you can take a moment and you can put your hands together and you can say, I dedicate the merit of this action to all sentient beings. As a result of this action, may the merit that I've just developed be disseminated to infinite, countless living beings. So my example of the bird feeding is just one example. Most of us have jobs. When you go to work, you can start to try to tie the actions that you do to benefiting beings. If you're working for an employer, you can think, as a result of my actions, may I bring peace, happiness, goodwill, joy, and equanimity to my boss, the owner of my company, all of my peers, all of my coworkers, the people that work for me, the people whom I work for. May I deliver happiness to them. May I make them happy. May I bring peace to them. Ah, how wonderful. Just talking about it makes me almost tear up because it's so profound. It's so simple, but yet it's so profound. You can go to work and you can make your daily actions the Dharma. Dharma is the Buddha's teachings. You could call it truth. You could call it love. So when I go to work, may I bring peace, joy, happiness to all of those that I'm with. If you're at home taking care of your family, you can say, may I, if I feed my daughter or if I help my daughter with her schoolwork or if I take care of my parents or my family or my husband or my wife, may I bring them happiness and joy. And then after you do the action, you can dedicate the merit that came from that action. Don't greedily hold on to the merit. Dedicate it. So all of our actions can cultivate positive merit. When we're sick, the practice of Tonglen, which is called giving and taking, is just the simple thought to take the suffering of others and to give them happiness. So remove their suffering, like drawing poison out of a wound or taking a thorn that's really embedded in somebody's foot, a long thorn, pulling it out. So Tonglen is taking somebody's suffering and giving them love, giving them really what we say is giving them our body, our wealth, and our roots of virtue, which are positive merit, positive karma. So when you're sick or when you suffer any kind of setback or obstacle or challenge, you can make the simple wish in your mind, as a result of my headache. For example, if you have a headache, or if you're like me and you have asthma, if any of you have noticed, I often gasp for air because I have asthma, and right now the air quality is not very good. What you can do in your mind is you can say, as a result of my suffering, may all limitless sentient beings that are suffering with asthma or headaches or whatever illness you happen to be suffering from, may all limitless sentient beings, as a result of my suffering, be freed from their suffering. So, anytime you suffer, anytime you're mad or sad or feeling lonely, any negative feeling you experience, you can cultivate the wish that as a result of my negative experience, may it draw the suffering of all others right on top of my experience. I'm already suffering. You could say this to yourself. I'm already suffering. So as a result of my suffering, may I take all the suffering of limitless sentient beings on top of my suffering. And as a result, just think about their happiness. Think about so many infinite sentient beings being happy and free of their suffering because you removed it, like a hero. You removed it like a hero doctor or a hero bodhisattva, which is an enlightened warrior of love. So we can turn all of our actions into meaningful actions. When we watch TV, you can even watch the actors on the screen. I'm not suggesting you watch TV, but I watch TV too much. When we watch TV, you can look at the actors on the screen and you can periodically think, may that actor, not the character they're playing, but may that actor have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. And may they abide in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. You can think that when you watch TV, when you see those actors. When you watch the news, you can think that about the news anchors. When you watch the news and you hear about suffering, you hear about the wildfires in California and on the West Coast, you hear about the hurricanes down in New Orleans and Alabama and Florida. You can think, may all of their suffering come into my heart and relieve them of their suffering. And may all of my happiness that I've ever accumulated, every happy moment, all stacked into one powerful moment of happiness, may it imbue them with happiness. So meditation is not just sitting on a cushion. Meditation's important. And I've got some guided meditation on my YouTube channel, and I encourage you to check those out if you're interested in learning how to meditate. But there's more than just that meditating, okay? There's meditation is not just sitting on a cushion. There's more to it than that. And what I'm really talking about today is how to develop the quality of love and how to, sorry, my cats are walking around here. I'm talking about how to develop the quality of love, and specifically how to do it by making all of our actions meaningful all day long. My cats just walked by, and I'm reminded of the fact that I have an 18-year-old cat and a cat that maybe the female cat's 16 and a half or 17. They are old and they require a lot of medication, and a lot of treatment and a lot of care. And basically, these guys are staggering through life in their senior years. So sometimes I feel like my home is a senior living facility for cats. So when I give sometimes every night we have to give the cats treats, and we put medication in those treats. And my female cat, unfortunately for her, we have to give her hepatitis medication that increases, or not hepatitis, but liver support. So it's called hepatosupport. We have to give her this medicine, and she hates it. And I also have to drop a pill down her throat because she has nausea. And if I don't give her this pill, like 2 days on, 1 day off, if I don't give her the pill, she throws up. And so I'm just giving you a real life example of something that can be really irritating. I'm not always very patient, and I can get irritated when I give the cat the pill. I encase it in a food treat for cats. I give her the pill, and then she blocks it with her tongue. So it's, this cat is fighting me, and I'm trying to give her a pill to help her, and she's like trying to just like not accept it, And I can, on one hand, I can get kind of irritated with her, but on the other hand, I can try to remember how infinitely wonderful it is to take care of another living being. So beautiful and so special and so supremely beneficial beyond anything else you could ever do. Taking care of a living being, reducing their suffering, is so infinitely good. And we can remember that. We can remember that all day long. It takes some practice. This is the practice of Tonglen, of Lojong. Lojong is called mind training. So I've pretty much been teaching you about Lojong during this session. So everything you do, you can cultivate the mind of love and compassion. When you wash your hands, you can imagine, I'm washing away the suffering of all sentient beings. You can really imagine this. As you're washing your hands with soap, I'm washing away the suffering of all sentient beings. As you're walking, you can imagine, I'm stepping on the suffering of all sentient beings. Every step I take, I'm keeping the suffering of other living beings at bay. I'm containing their suffering. When you wake up in the morning, you can say, as a result of me waking up today, may I benefit sentient beings. I haven't left the house for a long time because of COVID. With my asthma, I'm being very careful, as we all should be. I'm not saying you shouldn't leave, but I'm saying we should all be very careful to take care of others. So for example, if you leave the house and you put on a mask, as a result of me wearing this mask, may I benefit all sentient beings. May I be a protector of those beings. When you eat, most of us eat, I hope. When you eat, you can cultivate the wish. May all sentient beings receive nutrition along with me as I eat this meal. May every living being, as a result of me eating this meal, may they receive infinite strength and power and youthful energy and endurance. May they receive unstoppable power as a result of my eating this meal. May that be transferred to them. May all those who are starving and hungry be fed, right? You can do that when you eat. And then after you do that, after you have that thought to benefit all beings, you can dedicate the merit as a result of my pure thought of love and compassion. May any merit that I developed be dedicated to all living beings. All day long, you can try to cultivate these thoughts of inconceivable good. I stopped Facebook, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. It's funny because the reason I stopped Facebook was I had mixed emotions, and I I quit Facebook, and then I came back to Facebook and then quit it. And I kept trying to come back because I have a lot of Buddhist friends, and I like to share what I'm sharing with you guys on Facebook. But the problem is, inside of my heart, there was this impurity in Facebook. There was an impurity that led me to feel like shit. I just felt bad, you know? And I saw this documentary the other day called, it's on Netflix. What was this thing called? It was called The Social Dilemma. And it's basically about how some people, many of whom came from Silicon Valley at companies like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, etc. Many of them say that, and I'm condensing the documentary, many of them say that Facebook and these social media companies have kind of led to the degradation, the plummeting of our society and the values, and that these social media platforms create addiction. And of course they do, because they're selling advertisements. I mean, I'm using YouTube right now, and it's free because they sell advertising, which means that they want us to spend more time consuming content and buying products. And I'm grateful for YouTube, and I'm grateful for Facebook that I could share positive messages with the world. So I do have a sense of gratitude. Maybe I should say I'm grateful for the advertisers that spend money so that we can use this platform, although we are the products and we're being monetized. But I was getting to a point, which is that the world right now is so difficult. It's so divided, and there's so much hate and vitriol and rudeness and aggression, and the truth is no longer even a thing, you know. It's very important right now to cultivate love and compassion and to spread love and compassion. And by the way, one thing I want to mention, cultivating love and compassion, having love and compassion is not weakness. There's a saying in America, don't take my kindness for weakness. It's probably the worst thing that was ever invented. It's the worst saying ever invented, because kindness is power. Real kindness is so powerful. Excuse me. It's really easy to be mean or aggressive or cold towards others. It's not always easy to have forbearance and patience and to guard your actions in order to protect others. That's not always easy. That's hard. That's the hard thing. The hard thing is not weak. The hard thing oftentimes is strong and courageous. So right now, the world really needs love, and it starts with our minds. It starts with our intentions. So if you want to take on a challenge, make an aspiration. Start to create the aspiration. Cultivate the aspiration, the goal to develop more love and compassion in your mind stream. Cultivate more love and compassion in your mind stream for all living beings. And let's try to purify this world, which is on fire with anger, attachment, delusion, jealousy, and pride. Those are the 5 poisons. Let's cultivate inconceivable love and compassion to benefit everybody that comes in contact with us, everybody that hears our name, everybody that thinks of us. Let's cultivate limitless love and compassion to protect them and to protect us. We can change the world. It starts with us. We can change the world. All it takes is infinite love, which is free, by the way. It costs no money to give infinite love to others. So, on that note, I love you all from my heart. Even if we haven't met, I love you. And I wish all of you to be free from suffering forever from this moment forward. And I hope that you don the armor of love and compassion. the armor which protects you and protects others. Okay? So now I dedicate the merit of this Dharma talk to all infinite living sentient beings. May all of them become perfectly enlightened Buddhas as a result of this small merit that I've gained. Even if it's a mustard seed of merit that's arisen as a result of this practice, may it imbue all sentient beings, purifying their body, speech, mind. May it purify all of them, purify their body, speech, and mind, and bring them to Buddhahood. Okay? Sending you all peace, love, and well wishes. Please be happy.